Hello, everybody. We are officially live, it looks like. So I want to thank everybody for coming to hang out with us today on this lovely Thursday, the 22nd. So first I want to thank everybody for being here. Let everyone get a couple seconds to hop on, see if we get a couple more people. But I wanted to give this as an opportunity to kind of go over for some of you guys who are small business owners. I know we work with a lot of you, and a lot of you are Facebook friends and friends, family, and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. So kind of my thought behind this is to give some of the things that we went through and that I went through in 2020, and hopefully with those things be able to kind of help you guys out. Hopefully we can all learn from the mistakes that some of us have made, and rising tides lift all ships. So with that, Forrest is in the background of our live video today. He's going to help me out. So he's going to pop up my first 2020 mistake. And what I want to go over with some of these is there are numerous mistakes when it came to 2020. When we were writing these down, there's probably going to be a long video series because I asked some of my team, some of the people around me, I'm like, so, hey, what do you think some of my 2020 mistakes might have been? What things we could have made adjustments to? And to say I got feedback would be beyond question. So we're going to have plenty of these things. And I'm really excited to work with a team that kind of helps me make sure that we're continuing to get better every year. So one of the things that I think really resonated with me that I got feedback from the team as well was, figuring out that the answer, so thinking the answer was working harder and longer. That was a big mistake because it didn't take very long, I think, into us being quarantined with coronavirus and being kind of all isolated from one another for me to realize that working harder and longer wasn't going to be my answer, because burnout's a real thing. For anyone out there who's struggling with it or has struggled with it before, burnout is very real. And a lot of people experience burnout when they're working for other people's businesses, but you can certainly get burnt out on working for yourself. And I among many people who own small businesses and stuff have definitely experienced and felt that. So making sure you're taking care of your physical health, which I decided late in 2020 I was going to really do. And then the other thing that I think was probably even more important than my physical health was really putting a focus on my mental health, was to make sure that I was taking the time to do everything that I could to put myself in a good mental space. Because without me jumping into meditation and journaling and trying to understand a lot more about who I am and how I act and the things that I do and how I present myself in the world, has been really, really helpful with working with my team. So I think that, not burning the candle from both ends is incredibly helpful. So if you're ever just stuck and you think that, hey, maybe that is the answer, if I just work a little bit harder or, I grind a little bit more, that, it's going to solve everything, just let you know that's not the answer for you. And then on my second big mistake that I think as a team, we collectively kind of went through this in 2020 was being a yes man kind of instead of as a creative. So a lot of that, I'm a big movie person. I commonly refer things back to different movies, and I keep thinking of Vince Vaughn in The Wedding Crashers every time I think about my 2020 and kind of what we did as a business and kind of how we presented ourselves for a long time. Was people coming to us and the reference is like, make me a bicycle clown. So Vince Vaughn is trying to impress a bunch of people by doing all these balloon animals, and this one unruly child comes up and is like, hey, Vince Vaughn's like, would you like a poodle, or would you like a dog, or would you like this and that? He's like, no, I want a bicycle. He's like, that's a little bit too much. I'm not really. And he's like, shut up and make me a bicycle clown. So how that relates to us and how it hits home for me is a lot of times we're doing projects for people, and we're a creative agency. We work with individuals and groups and organizations to, when they have an initiative or something they want to get done in their business, we work with them, whether it's employee incentives or trying to just figure out how we can get people to be able to retain employees, how we can make employees feel engaged and stuff at work. When people come to us with that problem, we have a lot of solutions. Sometimes they're based around product. Sometimes they're based around employee incentives. Sometimes it's just based around programs and making sure that people feel like they're taken care of. And we help people solve those problems. And sometimes the answer is t-shirts. And sometimes the answer may be koozies. But a lot of times we have a lot of people that present themselves to us saying, make me 500 t-shirts, or hey, I need 100 koozies. It's like, hold on, you need what, for who, for how, what are we using this for? So making sure that we're being creative, because that's where we really add the value to our customers. Because a lot of times, if you know exactly what you want this on that thing, and your business has the people in it to be able to come up with those creative ideas and put those programs and everything together, you don't really need a business like us. But for the people who have other things that they have to do, and they don't have a budget for 2 or 3 people to come up with marketing programs, and a person in HR who has a budget and time to set up programs for employee wellness and employee incentives, that's when people talk to and work with a business like ours. And a lot of that comes down to how we present ourselves. And I know historically, I have presented our business a lot of times and being able to get things for people that other people couldn't, and being able to get them quicker, or just being able to help people get the things that they want to get. And that does a disservice to our clients in the long run, and it does a disservice to us, because where we can really help people is where we can get people to those goals and the initiatives that their businesses have. So that's been a learning curve for me, and my team has been helping out tremendously, making sure that we're doing projects that not only matter to us, they matter to the client, they matter to the employees, they matter to the end users. So that's been really helpful, and that as a result of fixing that mistake, we put ourselves in a lot better position. So my third would be feeling prepared to manage a remote team. So in 2020, we were all kind of thrown in the mix of what remote work was going to be. For us, it was a little bit different. We had been preparing to work remotely, and software, and from a technological standpoint, we were prepared to work remotely. We'd always kind of been a bit of a remote business, had people in different areas, different sales reps in different areas. And that was something that I think I kind of took for granted, was that we were prepared for us to work remotely, but we weren't quite prepared for the rest of the world to be working remotely with us. And what that would mean when it came to me as an individual being prepared to manage a remote team. So that was difficult. That was a very, very trying thing, is to figure out like how to, like when you're somewhat new to managing people at times, is how you're going to manage them remotely when the world kind of changes. So feeling prepared, I think it wasn't that we did a terrible job with it. I think it was that having already been doing that and being ahead of the curve, we felt like remotely, may have given us a false sense of, oh, we're already prepared for that, because we spent a lot of time whenever the world was changing like that, coaching clients and stuff on how they can be online and how they can work remotely, because we'd already had experience with it. Little did we know the world was going to continue to move and shift even more rapidly than we'd expected. So if I could have that one back, that's one I think I'd like to make sure that I didn't feel prepared when it came to managing a remote team. Number 4, waiting for the thing and then the next thing. I guess there's a love of quotation marks I've forced into these, but what this pertains to, a lot of what this pertains to is there were all these timelines, and like as a small business owner, I'm not sure if everyone went through this, but we have a new PPP timeline. You have a new timeline for whenever the CARES Act, is Congress going to meet and do this and do that, and just kind of assuming that like once one domino falls, everything else will kind of fall in its place, and assuming that things are going to happen from these organizations, and that like there's competent people in all places that are taking care of these things. And I think we kind of learned that that's not the case. Everyone was trying to figure it out as it was going, and the people who really pivoted quickly benefited. And I think that we pivoted. I just wish if I could take it back, if I could go back again, I would definitely, if you think about the Friends episode, I'd be shouting pivot as loud as I possibly could. Is we knew that we needed to make an effort and a change to adjust our market, but I think a lot of it was expecting a bounce back faster than we got a bounce back, even though we were prepared for 6 to 8 months of not having a lot of business in the niches in which we'd already had business. So I think having that time back instead of waiting for a thing or two to bounce back in a couple of those time periods, it's discovering new niches and figuring out where we can add value or we hadn't added value before. And if I could have that back, I think I'd probably do that a little bit differently. Number 5. So our fifth question, our fifth issue, there we got it up. Not seeking enough feedback, guidance, or mentorship. So a lot of times in small business, whenever we're facing adversities, whether that's, you're in the middle of an economic crisis, you're in the middle of a pandemic, a lot of times we feel like we see the way forward better than others might see. And that's something that I think early in the year I fell prey to. And I've done like kind of a knee-jerk reaction in the other direction now, as I've really understood that through that seeking mentorship, guidance, and feedback is really the only way for us to improve, whether it's as a business, as an individual, as a person. It's so important, and that's one of the reasons why this year we started the Finding Morpheus podcast, and that's kind of a project that we've been working on. That's going to be in conglomeration with a project we're working on with Heroes Wanted. So another podcast for us just got you can find Finding Morpheus any place that you find podcasts. It's on YouTube. You can check that out. We interviewed Kyle Dow on there a week or so ago. Kyle is wonderful, has helped out a lot with mentorship when it comes to mental health and spirituality and figuring out what you kind of want to do, what's your purpose in life. And for me, it's been incredibly helpful. So thanks very much for that. And again, check out some of those projects that we're working on, because getting mentorship and guidance is really the way forward. And it's what we do as a business now. It's what I'm doing as an individual. It's when I coach and consult people, I'm constantly, whether it's with me or with someone else, I think it's so important for us to find people who've done it before, or people who have that same interest, or people who at least just know the way forward. So I think that kind of wraps it up. If we have any questions, we're open to that. Feel free to ask some questions in the comments. If there's anything that we can help you guys with, we would love to help out. If you know anyone coming up with any projects or looking for employee incentives, pop-up tents, we're looking to talk to coaches. We got a lot of things to help people out, ordering with team stores, different company stores. So any of those things that anyone would be interested in, we'd love to talk to them. They can check out our website at hikepromo.com. Start clicking some of the buttons on there. Talk to us. You can get some feedback from Brittany, Forrest, myself, the team. And if you guys need anything, again, feel free to let us know. If not, we will talk with you later, and we'll see you next time.